everyone. Welcome to the Wise Owl Studio Talks. I'm Rachna Singh, editor, The Wise Owl, a literary and art magazine. And today it is my pleasure to welcome in our studio a very special guest. Anu Singh's trajectory as an artist has been rather unusual. She started off with a major in graphic designing, went on to become the director of social media and digital marketing in a company in Oman, and then gave up everything to become a full-time artist and a life coach. So, ladies and gentlemen, Anu Singh.
Hi Rachna, thank you so much for having me here.
It's a pleasure to have you here, Anu. And since we have a lot to talk about and very little time, let's just dive into the conversation, shall we?
Let's go.
Okay. So, Anu, let me start by addressing the elephant in the room. Like I said in your introduction, you've had a rather unusual creative trajectory. You started off with being a graphic designer, went on to, work as a head of social media and digital marketing, and then you gave up what I would call a very plush job, which gave you, your bread and butter, also the cherry on the cake. So tell us what made you transition from being a digital head to a full-time artist and a life coach?
So all along, even if I was in school or college or my whole life journey, which you're saying, is I was going about everything.
Right.
And I was also trying to make a career out of things. But there was that little feeling inside me that this is not enough. That I'm not happy.
Right.
I'm very, very grateful that I had this kind of a job because I'm a single mother. And for me to bring up the children well was
very important.
Very important.
Yeah.
So I'm very grateful that I went into this career. And as a child, I always wanted to do something with art. But the exposure wasn't there.
Right.
And I really didn't know how to take my journey. And I used to just speak to my father and tell him, I need to be back in art, but there was no exposure. And he told me, finish your schooling, and then we'll see what needs to be done. Okay. And I then joined graphic arts, and I'm grateful I joined graphic arts because it gave me a career which I could bring up my children.
And it's a creative thing in any case.
But all along, that one part of my heart wasn't happy because all I wanted to do was be an artist. And if you read my profile, I write on that the biggest, the director of social media and digital marketing, the biggest designation that gives me happiness is being an artist.
Wow, wonderful. 3 cheers to that. So Anu, when we talk about your work as a digital marketing head and we talk about your work as an artist, now they are two very different fields, although of course they're both very creative fields, but they are very different. So tell us, we are curious to know, did your work as a digital marketing head impact your practices as an artist or as a life coach?
So, because I was so associated with the social media scene, and now, of course, it's exploded.
Yeah,
we were starting off then, and all we did was make strategies for clients. And how to hook the client, how to get them more engrossed in their pages, and that's all I was doing, and with my team.
Right.
And that's when it sort of occurred to me that where are we heading as a community? Okay, we need all these platforms. I mean, there are so many good parts of these platforms. But I used to have my team come in and they would be on their phones all the time. So I think I was the first one to start meetings. Keep your phones outside and let's have a short meeting which is more meaningful without you losing your attention span. So that's how I started. It kept bothering me. Okay, I'm in this and I'm making these strategies for clients. But as a community, look at the addiction.
Yes, absolutely, and so aggressive about the whole thing.
And our whole mindsets have changed.
Yes, absolutely.
And we are so concerned about how we are looking.
Yes.
And it's all about the body and the perfect picture and how you're looking on Instagram. I'm saying that the platforms have given us all a voice also.
Right.
And we have been able to market ourselves. You see so many women entrepreneurs now.
Yeah.
But it was like there needs to be some balance.
Yes.
And that's where it started triggering. And I said, I have to come up with something that gives everybody those 10 minutes
Yes.
to be off that.
Yes.
So that's where the thought for my coloring books started off.
Okay. Because there's certainly a downside to all the social
Yes,
media, like
because
you
nobody's
say.
able to maintain a balance, I think.
Yes, because it's too much of artifice, and projecting yourself to be something that you are not.
Yeah.
Everybody is addicted to that kind of thing.
Yes.
So, switching gears a little bit, Anu, let's talk about your art, Tell us about your art, the kind of genres. Do you do figurative art form? Do you do abstracts? What is the kind of media you favor? Do you love doing pastels? Do you do oils? Do you do watercolors? So tell us a little about your work.
So when I started,
Right.
I took this big step. I think I had paid off my younger daughter's college fee, the
my
last
God,
one.
yeah.
And I said, now I'm done.
Yeah.
And I have to take this step. So I gave up my job and I moved to Dubai because it was easier to set up a company there and look at opportunities.
Right.
But I have to tell you, I was very confused
I'm sure.
because it was not easy.
Must have been a big step for
See,
you.
first there was discipline. You had to get up in the morning and go to work.
Yeah.
And at the end of the month, you were getting a paycheck. Here I was, very happy that I've finally taken the decision, but I didn't know where I was heading.
Yes. Right.
So for me, it was very, very tough at that time. And I was looking at things. How do I get back to being able to get my pen on paper? How do I get the brush on canvas?
Yeah.
I didn't know which side I was heading.
Yeah.
So I did a lot of research. I started looking around and I came across Zentangle. My cousin had done a Zentangle. It's a certified course that you do, and then it makes you a certified teacher.
Right.
And when I started doing learnings, and you have to go to the US and they put you in a program where you're all together. So it's a lot of community learning also.
Okay.
And when I started learning Zentangle, it was, their theories are very simple. And it's about gratitude.
Okay.
It's about being positive.
Okay.
And it's got an amazing concept of having no mistakes.
Okay, so it's basically a wellness approach, right? To life? Holistic wellness approach.
Yeah. So when you're creating, you just go with the flow.
Okay.
So you're not worried. So their no mistakes theory is the one that stuck with me.
Right.
Because, in fact, they featured me in their blog because I said, this is my take home from it.
Okay.
Because it's you can just go along with the flow and not worry.
Right.
So they encourage you when you're even drawing and making patterns.
Right.
There's no erasers.
Okay.
So the concept.
Whatever happens.
Yeah, and then you find a weave your way through it. And for me, in my life, I have realized that there are no erasers in life.
Right.
So if you make a mistake,
you have to bear it.
What do you do? I have made some personal mistakes which have affected me.
Yeah.
Maybe my personal choices or something. But so what do? You make a mistake, you apologize. If it's the other person, you apologize and then you move on.
Yes.
If it's a mistake that you have caused which is causing you pain, then you apologize to yourself and you move on.
Yes.
So this is one of the things I learned from there. And then I did a lot of research. I started with lines.
Okay.
I just started making lines.
Okay.
I would make lines and they would be gratitude lines. Because every time I spoke to anybody, I would say, I'm grateful that I was able to leave my job. I'm grateful I have the finances to cover myself. I have support of friends and family. So everything came down to being grateful. And I would just start with lines. And then I started with abstracts. I did an exhibition in Chandigarh, in Dubai.
Right. Okay.
And every year I come up with an exhibition. So I'm more of a abstract artist. And I also have a series called the Patience and Gratitude series, which I do with the brush, but each brush stroke is a different color.
Okay.
So it requires a lot of patience.
So basically it's like watercolors, or do you work with oils?
It's
what
acrylics.
Is the media? Okay, acrylics.
It's acrylics.
Okay.
The first painting I started was with just different brush strokes. But the theme in my head was rainbow. So I
Okay.
created the whole rainbow with brush strokes.
Oh, wonderful.
So
wonderful,
that's how I
wonderful.
started.
Okay.
And of course now I do a lot of Zentangle and different art forms in my
Yeah.
coloring books.
Yeah, because you were talking about your handcrafted coloring books that you
Yes.
make. That seems to be your passion right
Yes,
now.
yes.
You know?
I come up with
tell
a
us-
journal,
Yeah.
yeah.
So tell us a little about it. You shared this with us.
Yes.
It's called
Breathe Some Orange.
Breathe from Orange.
Breathe Some Orange.
Oh, breathe some orange.
Because I
Wonderful.
want people to get off their phones,
Yeah.
breathe, take it slow,
Yeah.
and orange is the color of creativity.
Yeah,
So my
okay,
whole Instagram channel,
Huh.
everything is called Breathe Some Orange.
Okay. So basically, your art is inextricably linked with your holistic wellness
Yes,
approach, you
yes.
know, which is very unusual.
So in this book I've
Right.
written, if you
Yeah.
take care of your body,
Right.
like you really,
Yes, yes.
take care. So what about who's going to take care of your mind?
Right. That's very important. You're
So
absolutely right.
this is the
So-
reason that I.
So tell me, I'm curious to know, are there particular themes that you use in your coloring books? I think you mentioned mandalas or something the other day.
There is
so
a-
what is the kind of,
There
figures
is a-
that you use? Let's see. Huh?
Yeah.
Can you show us something here?
Yeah. So this I wanted it to be the rising sun.
Okay.
So yes, I have my family and friends write something nice about me.
Okay, yeah.
So,
So that's
a lot of people ask me why is the colored page at the back.
Okay.
So if you're going to color this, then this is at the back. A lot of people
Yeah,
ask me.
yeah.
But I don't want somebody to just copy me.
Right.
Once you actually start coloring,
Right, right.
your whole mind and body is in the activity.
Right.
So coloring is the only activity that uses both sides of the brain.
yeah.
So one keeps the logic keeps you inside the line, and the
Right.
creativity helps you choose the colors and all
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
So it's at the back. Go with the flow.
Right.
And within 10 minutes, you won't need this.
Yeah. So it should not be a replica of what you have done.
Yeah,
it should be,
just
with the creativity and inspiration of the person doing
Yes.
it.
And
which I think
you might
is-
be nervous to start, but
Yeah.
once you start,
Yeah.
and also during the day we have sort of 12,000 to 60,000 thoughts.
Right.
And once you start coloring, you'll have no internal dialogue.
Okay, wonderful. That sounds
So it
really
it's like
great.
mindfulness.
In fact, my fingers are itching to get down to coloring something like this. Lovely.
So this book is
patterns,
mostly
yeah.
inspired by
And
Zentangle.
that one says dreams. So like.
So I
yeah.
left that space for you to fill up your.
Okay, your concept
yeah.
of whatever, your
Your-
focus in life.
yeah.
Right, right. Wonderful.
So this book is inspired by Zentangle.
Okay, okay.
And a little bit of mandala.
Okay.
And this is when I was talking about lines. This is what I started off with.
Okay, okay.
I would just create lines.
Right, right.
Yeah,
So
this-
about mandalas, what does that signify for you, and what does that signify for the person who's doing the mandalas?
It's again mindfulness.
Okay.
It's a lot of focus.
Uh-huh.
There's a lot of symmetry.
Yeah.
And mandala helps you.
Takes us back to our spiritual roots
yes,
also, I
yes.
think
There
mandala
is
is
a
it?
lot of research
Right,
people
right,
can
right.
do on mandalas,
Right,
and
right.
the different kind of mandalas there are.
Yeah, yeah.
The Buddhist, the Hindu,
Yeah.
everybody's. There are monks who do create art on the beach.
I know of the Buddhist monks. The Dalai Lama
Yeah.
does that Kal Chakra ceremony, which is, I think, something to do with the mandalas.
And the fact that they do it on the beach,
Yes,
can you
yes.
imagine spending hours doing it and then having
it
it
gets-
washed away?
yes.
Because it's about
That is-
letting go.
Yeah, and it's about life.
Yes.
Ephemeral life, everything comes and goes.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. So wonderful,
So
wonderful.
yeah, so this is the
lovely.
book. This is my favorite quote, which is
No mud, no lotus.
Yes,
Right.
you have to
right.
come through the dirt to be what you
Yes.
are, and that's why
To
this
find
one-
the beauty of life.
Yeah, and I also break conventions. I had made a painting where I put all the borders inside and the
Okay.
flow outside because
Oh,
I'd like
it's
love
unusual,
to
huh?
yes love to break convention. Borders
right.
always have to be on the
Yes,
outside.
on the outside. So-
and this one I broke the mandala and put them into lines.
Oh, okay.
These are all mandala
Oh,
designs.
all right.
So
you experiment and
Yes,
you
yes.
think
I-
out of the box,
yes,
basically.
yes.
Yeah, yeah. So wonderful, wonderful.
and the labyrinth, of course. So
yes.
there's a lot of pages
Yeah,
here. When
lovely,
I
lovely.
enjoyed making. I'm working on a new one now.
Okay,
so
great.
yeah.
So I know you also do a lot of workshops with children and with adults also, I believe,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
So tell us, how does your Zentangle learning and your
NLP
NLP
Yeah.
practices impact these workshops?
So I've been very, very lucky. I'm
Right.
grateful. My youngest student has been 4 years.
Okay, wonderful.
And my oldest student has been 90.
Oh my God, so that's an entire range of life. You know?
I've had young adults, young children. I've done in schools. I do online, offline.
Right.
And it's the energy exchange is what keeps me going.
Yes,
you can
absolutely,
actually see people are being impacted. So everything I teach, I
Right.
use the art of medium.
Okay, okay.
So if I have to teach you how to acknowledge your emotions,
Right.
okay. So when we were kids, we were always told, "Oh, you're crying or you're angry, go into the room, and just go away and not acknowledge that what's happening." And nobody actually talked to us about
we tend
it.
to sweep it under the carpet, all the negative emotions, basically, you know.
So if you're angry, we were told just go inside, right? That's how it happened with almost all of us.
So basically, what your art says is that confront your negative emotions and arise above them.
Yeah.
You know,
So if today you're angry and if somebody had spoken to me about it and said, okay, what are you feeling? We acknowledge you have the permission to feel.
Right.
And let's see what you can do about it.
Right. So any interesting stories about the impact maybe?
I was doing a workshop for young adults in Vivek, and we were doing a workshop on knowing yourself and what do you see in the mirror when you stand.
Through art, isn't it?
So the subject was to have a better relationship with yourself.
Okay.
Especially the young adults, they are going through this whole crisis through the social media.
Yeah.
So I was having this workshop where we were drawing. So again, that's the medium of art that comes in. We drew a mirror.
Okay.
And I was explaining to them what self-love is and what is self-obsession and what is selflessness.
Yeah.
So these are the three things. And then we went through the whole workshop.
Right.
And then we had to we had created a little mirror.
Okay.
And then we had to all stand for 5 minutes and look at it and see who they see after the perception had changed, who they see in the mirror. And after the workshop was over, I had a young adult, she was just sobbing in a corner, and I went out to her and she hugged me, and the energy exchange that we had at that time and the feeling that I could actually bring her emotions to this state, and she was feeling so positive about it, and she said, nobody's ever told me that I have to have a relationship with myself. I said, you have to have a great relationship with yourself first, and then the rest of the relationships are going to work out.
Right. Yeah. So any transformations that happened, anybody got back to you and said, okay, I was like this before and now I'm like this,
I'm in touch with almost every student.
Oh, okay.
Almost every, because they know my pages, the Instagram, people get to me. I've had a 90-year-old who's like been hugging me and saying, I never thought that I could do something like this. Okay. So I have a child who comes to me for the last 4 years. She's dyslexic. And the kind of changes I have seen in her,
amazing,
because it's not really a hindrance now. Her dyslexia is not a hindrance. She's so super smart and she's so creative.
Wonderful, wonderful. So basically you are tapping into the creativity of children and adults through your NLP practices, your Zentangle practices, and of course your art, which is the most important.
And giving more clarity of thought.
Right, absolutely.
And once I introduce the medium of art, then it stays with you.
Yes.
Whatever you have learned in that workshop,
you go back to it every time.
because it's always there right in front of you.
Right.
And you've gone with the process.
Absolutely.
So I think that really works.
Okay, wonderful. That's great work you're doing. Kudos to you. So, Anu, another thing, you are wearing different hats. You are an artist, you are a life coach, right? And of course, you worked for your bread and butter. So tell us, how did you manage to balance these different roles and also carry on with your creative flow? That's most important.
I think the number one thing is your passion.
Yeah. Great.
I mean, if you get up in the morning and go and do a job and you're going to be miserable, and then you come back, you're not going to be happy. I know there are many people who probably still doing that, and maybe they need to figure it all out. But for me, it's the process.
Yes.
Is just enjoying that whole process and the creativity,
Right.
that I have sometimes worked for 12 hours a day and I have not been tired before my upcoming exhibitions or before I have to get to the printer to print. I've just worked non-stop and never felt tired because you just enjoy.
Creative energy just rejuvenates you, every time.
And there is, when you're creating a painting also, okay, you need validation.
Right.
Okay, you need somebody to come and buy it. But sometimes I feel that you have received enough while in the process.
Right.
Because you're so enjoying that journey.
Yes. So any upcoming exhibitions you're working for?
I'm going to be taking part in World Art Dubai.
Oh, wonderful. Amazing.
I've done it for the last 2 years.
Okay.
This time I'm not sure if I'm going with my paintings or because I have a huge range of products now.
Yes.
And I'm very proud of my journal
you ought
and my books, pocket books and my calendar. Even my calendar has coloring at the back because that's what I believe in.
Lovely patterns.
So everything I want to give everybody a chance to just get off this digital addiction. So
get off the screens and get back to reading or drawing or all those things that creative things we did in our childhood.
So my aim is very clear. So I'm just, it's in April. And first time I went with my books. They were very well received. And then last year I went with my Patience and Gratitude series, which was each stroke a separate stroke. And this year I'm still thinking if I go with my product, but I'm definitely taking part because I enjoy the vibe a lot.
Chalo, wonderful.
And, it's a lot of networking.
Let's hope it's a great, place to showcase your work and everything. Okay, now so we are running out of time. Actually, I think we'll need to wrap up. So let's end on a positive note with maybe a Zen Tangle exercise or something, a short wellness exercise we can do with you,
Okay.
So something you could do sitting and without moving around too much.
Okay.
So,
So when I told you about the lines. So we can do something with just lines.
Okay. Right.
And I will give you a pen.
Okay. So it's like I make anything I want to?
No, I'll tell you what to do.
Okay.
So if there is this is how I started.
Okay.
I just started with lines.
Okay.
And if there is a takeaway from this conversation, it will be about me being so positive and so grateful. I think my whole journey of being an artist started with gratitude.
That's a wonderful way to start anything, absolutely.
So, and I've always been positive about it. And the second takeaway probably would be that I'm very flexible.
Okay, accommodating, go with the flow in life.
Yes, because that's one thing maybe I picked up from NLP.
Okay.
I didn't know even how to set goals for myself. So I have been able to do that, but I've been very flexible.
All right.
If this is not working out for me, I will find another way.
That's
I'm not just going to stop. It's like if I fall down, I'm not going to be there forever. I have to call somebody to help me get up, or I will get up on my own.
Right.
And I will move along.
Right.
It's not that you're going to find me there for the next 3 months, right? So how don't we do that with our minds?
Right.
If you reach a mental block and you're stuck, then
you need to find a way out.
Find a way out. If you need help, do that.
Ask for it,
or take support from friends and family.
Right.
But you have to find a way out.
Right.
And this is how I started. So I'll teach you this. It's something that you can do on your own.
Okay.
You don't need to be an artist for this.
Okay.
So you start, suppose I start with this line.
Okay.
Okay, you can just do anyway.
Okay.
So this is my first gratitude line.
Okay.
So I could today be grateful that I'm sitting here and talking to you, right? So that's my first gratitude line.
Okay.
Okay, then I go along. I'm grateful that I got up in the morning and I had slept well. Okay.
So basically you keep drawing lines and you keep thanking
Yes.
God or whoever, the omnipresent puppeteer for whatever is
and
being
I'm
given
telling
to
you,
Blessed.
if anybody watching or listening, if you can get into the habit of doing this, maybe every hour come and draw a line, your whole perception to life is going to change.
Yes.
You know, if you're in a car and you're traveling and you see, why do you want to see the guy in the BMW?
Look at a person doing a cycle, you know, and say, oh God, thank you God, I have a car, you know.
So if you're in the car, look at the guy in the, on the scooter wrapped up in winters.
Yes,
if you're on the scooter, look at the guy in the auto. If you're in the auto, look at the guy on the cycle. If you are on the cycle and you look at the guy who's walking, then be grateful for the legs you have.
In fact, that takes me back to our convent education. I remember every time before we would open our tiffin boxes, the sister would tell us, thank God for the food. So it would be like, thank you God for the food in my tiffin, or thank you God for the food on my table, you know.
I think we've forgotten to do that.
In today's schools, I don't think that is the focus anymore.
Yeah, but you can consciously bring yourself to this point where you actually keep. So, if this activity you want to do, you can actually do this maybe 5 times in a day or 10 times in a day and every hour.
Yes, absolutely. I totally agree with you. Because I feel what is missing in the generation today basically is that they are not thankful for anything. They take everything for granted and they want more. The sense of entitlement is so great. So once you start accepting and being thankful for what you have, I'm sure they're going to be a lot more positive.
It's a change in perception.
Yes, absolutely.
It's your perspective. I mean, I don't know if there was this song, Moonshadow, I think by Cat Stevens, where he says, if I ever lose my eyes and the color, I don't remember the exact lyrics, and if I lose my eyes and if I lose all the color within, then I won't have to cry again.
Oh, that's a wonderful way of, you know, moving that tragedy around. Quickly,
so it's your perception.
Yeah, absolutely. So I know it was really wonderful talking to you, especially about this holistic wellness approach.
And I can just show you this, how it actually comes up.
Yeah, beautiful, wonderful.
It's just my gratitude lines.
Yeah, I think we've run out of time totally. Thank you so much, Anu, for coming to our studio to talk to us about your art and Zentangle and this wellness approach. It was wonderful having you.
Thank you, Rachna. I'm really, really grateful that I met you and that we could have this conversation. These days, almost everything is, favors or paid or anything, and I'm so grateful for this.
Our pleasure,
that I'm getting my voice out. Thank
our
you.
Pleasure. So, dear viewers, thank you for watching this episode. We'll be back again with another episode soon. Till then, bye-bye. Take care.